Hi everyone. I have this camera set up tonight, so I don't want to move it. Hi. Thanks so much for joining me. I am Michelle Solis from This Must Be Ink. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Seekonk, Massachusetts. So welcome to my Stamp and Flip. This is episode 11. And what we do here is take a 12 by 12 piece of designer series paper and we cut it in half and we make cards with one side of the paper. Then we take the other half and flip it over and make cards with that side of the paper. So my goal here was to use up some of my retired designer series paper and come up with some templates and card ideas for that you can make multiples of very quickly. All right, so tonight we have a template that hopefully you printed it. It is on my, can't see it. It is, I swear this says printing on it. It is on my Crafty Kraken Create Facebook page. If you go up to the files section on that page, you will find the template for episode 11, and you can download that or print it out, whichever works for you. But that template is going to include a big piece that's 5 1/4 by 11 or 12, and that's going to create a fun fold card that showcases both sides of your paper. So that's what we're doing tonight. All right, so I'm going to turn the camera down. I had this all set up, so I just didn't want to move it. Sorry. All right, so let's go here. There we go. All right, so this is the set of cards that I created. When I make my template, I cut the paper and then make some cards to show what that template is going to look like. So I think these are the ones that I put on the Facebook page. This first one just uses a flat card base, which is 5 1/4, 5.5 by 4 1/4. And it is a fun fold. It's going to use that long piece of paper, and we're going to make a Z fold with this one. So that's the first card. And then you've got some little strips. So we've highlighted those little strips here. I've got just a mat behind that little strip with a little sentiment there. And then this one, I used a mat in boho blue. This was the Countryside Inn paper, and it had boho blue, which is a retired color. But this mat is boho blue with a little bit of embossing. And that is 5 1/4 by 4. So our strip fit right across the front of that card. Hi, Courtney. Thanks for joining. And then this last one, again, I did a boho blue mat with the damask embossing folder. Hopefully you can see that. And then this time I cut this strip in half and I put half here and half here and then put my sentiment in the middle just for a little bit of extra interest. So that was the first set of cards. Then the second set is this same fun fold, but done a little bit differently. So you can see on this one, I left the that big slice of paper 5 1/4 by 12, and I folded the end over here at the edge. Hi, Julie. At 1 inch, and so that you can see the other side of the paper. On this one, I cut it at 5 1/4 by 11, and then that little inch strip I have inside here. So you can decide what you want to do with that little strip when you create your cards. Okay, so that's that one. And then on this one, I did a boho blue background. So I did a Night of Navy mat with just your strip across the middle. And then on this one, we've got the same strip, but we've got a mat here that I think this is 1.5 by 4 behind your little strip. And then this one is the funky one of this bunch. So this is 3 3/4 by 5, this boho blue mat. And then I've got a panel on top of that that's 3 3/4 by 4. And then I put my strip at the bottom, but I made it, what do you call that? And I just went right out of my brain. I flagged it. So anyways, at the bottom of that piece, and then stamped my sentiment at the bottom. Okay, so those are the 8 cards that we did with that paper, and all the measurements for those will go up on the Facebook page in that same area in the files section of Crafty Kraken Create. So tonight, this is the template. We're going to make the first cut right here at 5 1/4, and then you'll have this 1-inch piece down here at the bottom. And as I said, we can either fold that or we can cut that off and put that inside your card. And then you'll have these 3 3/4 inch pieces. They're 3/4 by 4. You'll get 3 of those. So this essentially makes 4 cards. All right, so tonight I'm going to use some storybook paper because why not? It's adorable. And I wanted to show you how to cut this if you've got a pattern that needs to go portrait. Okay, so you want this piece, this 5 1/4 by 11 piece. Let me grab my card again. All right. You want the pattern on this piece to be going up and down. So if that's the case, if you've got a pattern that's just an all over pattern, it won't matter which way you cut the paper. But if you've got a pattern that's up and down, you're going to need to cut this a little differently. All right, so what we're going to do then, if you've got that type of a pattern, you're going to rotate your paper a 1/4 turn. So now your pattern should be going, the top of your pattern should be to the left. Okay, all right, let me get my trimmer here. All right, so first things first, we're going to cut this whole paper in half at 6 inches. We're going to put half of that aside for another set of cards. But we're going to work on this set tonight. All right, so now my paper is 6 by 12, and my first cut is going to be at 5 1/4. So we'll line that up at 5 1/4 and set this piece aside. So this is your 5 1/4 by 12 or 5 1/4 by 11. So you can keep this way. Sorry, I have no room to put anything down. You can keep this way, and we can fold back this edge if we want to, or we can cut it off. So tonight what I'm going to do is I'll show you the folding back, but then I'm going to cut it off. So you'll get both options. Okay, then this last little strip, we're going to turn, and we're going to cut this at 3/4. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 3/4 of an inch. We're going to cut it at 4. So 4. And then again at 4. So you'll have 3 pieces that are 3/4 of an inch by 4. And those will be your C pieces. Okay. If you're going to keep this at 12 inches, you are going to score it at 1. Get your cutting blade out of the way. And when you're scoring designer series paper, you want to be gentle. Don't push too hard. So you're going to score this at 1. And then we're going to score it at 4. And then we're going to score it at 8. So we'll take our arm out and go down to 8. Okay, I'm going to put that aside for the moment. So if you're going to fold this back, what you would do is do just that. That little flap is going to come backwards. And then at this 8-inch score mark, you're going to fold in. And then at this 4-inch score mark, you're going to fold back. So you will get a piece that looks like a Z, like this, with a little flap on the end. Okay, so that would go onto your card base like this. Let me find my card base. So you're going to have a flat card base for this one that's going to be 5.5 by 4 1/4. It would sit on there like this, and it would open. This is going to be glued down, so it would open like that. Okay. Okay. But what I'll do tonight is I will cut this off so I can show you the other version. So I'm going to cut this at 1 inch. Cut this little panel off here. And it's scored now, so it doesn't want to behave. Okay. All right. Oh, and it just chewed up my paper. So let me just trim off all these little weird edges that are sticking out now. I think I need to change my cutting blade. I've been doing a lot of Christmas cards, so I think I probably need a new blade. Okay, so now you'll have this piece that's 5 1/4 by 11. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to attach it to our card base. And make sure when you do that, it's going to open the right way. So you want it to open this way. Okay. All right, so then you will have a piece that goes inside. You're going to put a mat here, and that's going to need to be 3 3/4 by 4. Okay. And then this little piece that we had left over, we can either put it on this way or this way. I think I'm going to turn it over and show the little vegetables. But again, I've got some ragged edges here. Trim that off. That looks a little better. Okay. So then we're just going to line this up right with the designer series paper on the edge, like that. So you'll have a little bit of the vegetables here, and then a little bit of the vegetables inside. Okay, so that's your fun fold. Then you'll have these other pieces left over. Now, depending on your pattern, and you can see my pattern is really disjointed now because it's a large pattern on this piece of designer series paper. So I do think that if you've got a really busy pattern, that's going to work best for these cards. But because we have made a commitment to use both sides, we're going to do it. All right. So all my card bases are portrait. So they are going to be 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Oh, do you want me to show you how to replace the blade? Yes, of course I can. Good question, Miss Courtney. Okay, so on your trimmer, you've got 2 blades. You've got your scoring blade and your cutting blade. At the bottom of your track here, there's a little area that will allow your blade to come out. So a little bit larger there. So you'll bring your blade down to that area and you'll just kind of pull on it and it should come right out of that little notch. And then to put your new one in, you'll do exactly the opposite. You'll put one edge in and then the other, and it just fits right in there in that little slot. And you can also replace the scoring blades. Stampin' Up! Has both of those as replacements. Okay. Sorry, I missed your question there. Okay. Hi, Cynthia. Yes, the storybook paper is so cute. All right, so you've got 3 card bases for the rest of these strips. And then I've got some mats that I created. So we've got one that is 3 3/4 by 5. I think I'm going to use the embossed mat for these because the pattern is not so fabulous. So we're going to use the embossed mat for that. And then I've got one that is 5 1/4 by 4. And then we've got the one that is 1/2 inch by 4 that we will put our little strip on. But I think by the time we get done decorating these, you won't notice that you don't see much of the pattern because we've got all these cute little characters to put on here. All right, so my first one, this was 5 1/4 by 4, and it is embossed just to give it a little bit more detail. And I embossed that with the beautiful pattern embossing folder. So we will just add that to the front of our card with some glue. There we go. And just simply put your strip right on there. Right across. And then we're going to do some sentiments in a moment. So we'll get that one on there. Then we've got this one. I'm going to add my strip to my mat first. And then to the front of the card. That might not be exactly in the middle, but oh well. It will all work out. And then we've got the 3 3/4 by 5. Now, what did I do with this one? Because why is that hanging over? Oh, let me see what my template was. Did I cut it off? Oh, no, that's the one that I did like this. Okay. So essentially, I did cut it off. But what I think we'll do this time is we will cut it a smidge. And then we'll flag the end again. So we're just going to cut off that tiny piece, and then we'll make a little banner or a flag at the end here, just with our snips. So you'll just snip straight up and then come from each corner up to the top of your little area that you snipped to make your banner end. And then we'll get that onto our mat. I forgot what I did. It's what happens. You design something and then walk away from it for a couple days and you're like, what did I do? Okay. Just across like that, and then we'll add that mat to the card. And we just want to center that up. This one again was 3 3/4 by 5. It's got something stuck there. There we go. Okay, so then we just need to make some sentiments for our card. All right, so we've got 4 cards, and I think I only cut white. Hang on. I think I'm going to need some basic beige. I think the white is going to look nice. Okay, so we're going to take our punch. This is a 2 3/8 inch circle punch. And we're going to punch a circle for our fun fold card. And I am using the Simply Said stamp set that has all these just very simple sentiments. And I'm doing a bunch of birthday cards and thank you. Going into the new year, I think that's what I'm going to need the most of. So we're going to go with some Old Olive. No, maybe we should do Cajun Craze since we did our mats, Cajun Craze. Changing my mind. Okay. Hi, Lorraine. Oh, well, thanks for joining us from Vermont. So we've got birthday wishes. Oops, we need some ink on that. Where's Courtney when I need her to come ink up my ink pad? Okay, one moment. Find the ink. All right. Well, you guys are learning all kinds of stuff tonight. All right, so we're going to ink up an ink pad tonight. So we've got refills of every color. So you don't have to replace a full ink pad. You will just re-ink it when your ink is getting dry or if you've used too much. So all you need to do, it's just a little squeeze bottle, is squeeze your ink onto the pad. And if it's dry, it's going to absorb it. This is a very hard one to squeeze. Some of them come out so easy. All right, so you can see it's kind of spotty where I'm putting it, but I am going to, because I can't squeeze this bottle. Okay, hang on. Well, what we'll do is we'll get ink throughout all of the areas. And then to even it out, let me get a rag one second. To even that out, then what I will do is take my blending brush, the end of my blending brush, or even my bone folder, and I just go over the pad and spread the ink out, kind of pushing it into the ink pad. Okay, then you will get some on your bone folder, but you can just wipe that off. All right, so now we should be able to ink this up. Good side, good. Thank goodness that the paper has two sides. So we'll just try again with that. Well, a little bit better. It's still not inked quite enough, but we're not going to take time to do that. We're going to just let it be. All right, then we're going to make some happy birthday with the straight. Maybe if I use this end here. Let's see. We'll just do some happy birthday. That one looks good. Happy birthday. And then we want one more that is a little thanks. There we go. All right, so we'll put that aside because we do have to put more ink in there. All right, so then we just need to cut these out. I'm going to use my trimmer so that I get a straight edge on these. And just put this in. Oh, I cut off my T. We may have to re-stamp the thanks. All right, so we've got some happy birthday. And we may have to re-stamp that thanks because I cut off the T. So we just need to recenter that a little bit. And what's nice about the photopolymer stamps is you can see through them. So you can see where you're stamping, and so you can line it up a little bit better. So we'll just cut that one out like that. Okay, so we have our sentiments. We'll go back to this card. Let's get our birthday wishes on here. I'm going to use some dimensionals. For that one. And then we'll use some dimensionals for the little thanks. And put that one on this side here. And then we've got happy birthday. And on my first set of cards, I used a bunch of ribbon, which I don't usually do, but I'll show you how to use, get the ribbon around the card that I did for that fun fold card. And one more happy birthday. Oops. And then all we need to do is, they can stay just like this, very simple but pretty, or we can use some little die cuts to make them fancier, or some ribbon to make them fancier. Okay, so let me show you how I did the ribbon on here. I think I'm going to use this Mossy Meadow ribbon. I don't have an old olive ribbon. but Mossy Meadow will do. It's like the same color, just a little bit darker. All right, so what I did on this was I opened this up and I put my ribbon inside, brought it around to the front, and then I want to cut enough so that I can make a good bow on the front. Oh, that might be too much. I want to make a nice bow on the front. So let me cut this and then I'll tell you about how much this is. So this is 13. This is about 20 inches of ribbon. So we're going to get this around. I'm going to put a glue dot here to hold it for me. Right, I thought I lost my glue dot, right in the middle. There. And I'm going to crisscross my ribbon and put it right on top of that glue dot right there. So it's going to hold it for me. And then I'm going to be able to tie my bow. Right there. And then what I do is I go inside and I'm going to put a little glue dot there as well. Probably better with take your pick tool than your finger. There we go. So we're going to get that underneath the ribbon. Maybe. There we go. So it's going to hold it on the inside as well. So there's our birthday wishes fun fold card. Okay, that's one. And then we've got these other little happy birthdays. So we also have, with this storybook paper came all these little characters. So we've got some little people that we could put on these cards. Since we're using the page that has the vegetables, I pulled out some of the little animals that have something to do with vegetables. This little guy has a radish. Very cute. So let's go on this one first. Maybe he can go here. No, he's too big. A little mouse. He's cute. Okay, we'll put the little mouse here. So these can stay just as plain as that. You could add a little ribbon here, or you could add a little die cut. If you have a die cut, you could even do a leaf or a sprig here. This one, what else have we got? Oh, here's a little spriggy thing. So we could just do something along those lines and put a little ribbon there. How do I keep, here we go. Keep losing my dimensionals. I sit them aside and then I can't find them again. Okay. That little sprig like that. I'm going to come back and add a bow. And then this one, oh, he might fit here. There, that will fit right there. Okay. All right, so depending on your paper that you choose, if you choose one that has a little bit of a busier pattern, I don't think that you really need much more on your card. There you go. All right, and then I was going to do a little bow on here. Let's see, what else do we have? We're just going to use the same green. Make another little bow. Okay. And then we can just add that to, oh, it's a little too big. Let's get a little bit smaller. So it could go down here, or it could go over here. Oh, I like it on there. All right, another little glue dot. And we should be all done. Well, yes, you have to put the white inside as well. I always forget to show that on camera. All right, so there's our little bow on that one. And then, of course, to finish your cards completely, you will put some white inside, or basic beige, or very vanilla, depending on what color you want to use. And these will be 4 1/4. I'm sorry, 5 1/4 by 4. There you go. You can add a sentiment inside if you'd like, or you could even put another little die cut inside for your cards, whatever you choose to do. And oh, we forgot bling. All right, let's get some bling here. I have some Mossy Meadow bling. Very sparkly, like that ribbon. Right? It's not over until you get the bling on there. There we go. I think this one turned out to be my favorite one with the little bow. There we go. And the little mouse. All right, and then this last one, you didn't get a lot of embellishment, so we're going to just put some bling right on there. There we go. All right, so we are all set. So those are your 3 cards. And again, you can make them as fancy as you'd like. They're your cards. You can decide what to do and how to use those strips. But I think you have a few ideas tonight between these and the others that I showed you. All right, so I will put the template up, I'm sorry, the card PDF up with all the measurements for these cards as well as the first ones that you saw. There we go. All right. Oh, there we go. All right, so all the measurements will be up on the Crafty Kraken Create page and will be under the files section. So you can check out the template there, download and print. And you'll also get the cards and all the measurements for the cards. So you can see, you can remember how we did all the little strips. So later tonight, I will finish the cards with the other side of this paper, and I will put those up on the Crafty Kraken Create page as well. All right, everybody. So that's it for me. I will be out of town for a couple of weeks, so I won't be back until January, but I will see you. Ooh, when is it in January? Let's look up the date. It is going to be, the third Wednesday is going to be Wednesday, January 21st. So I'll see you back here January 21st, and we'll do another Onesheetwonder template. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and stay crafty, my friends.